welcome into day 16, and you are talking with the Meeples Champion. You know, we've been talking about a lot of the newer games. I think that anybody who's a big board gamer can agree that the games that have been coming out the last 10 years tend to really run your game night. And I think that's been true for decades. It's just that the last couple decades has been this rush of games. You always have something new coming in. You always have the setup of between Kickstarter and the main brands who put stuff out on shelves. You're like, man, there's like 500 new games a year. Like at least 100 of them are like really, really good. And all of a sudden, 10 years later, and you're like, there's 1,000 really, really good games. And there's like 10,000 legit new games. And it's hard to remember the old games. But just because the old games have kind of been pushed to the wayside doesn't mean that they're forgotten about. Doesn't mean that they're not good. There are still some winners from those old ones. And today, what I want to talk about is one of my old favorites, Stratego. Now, Stratego is kind of a war game and kind of not. It's really a strategy game. You know, I think that the fun part about Stratego is that you've got your own ability to set up your side. So it's not that there's unknowns. It's not that there's this complete rando factor. It's that you're dealing with the side of, hey, my opponent has set everything up. So as random as it feels to me, they have a plan. They've put together with their pieces their side of the board. Now, in this particular game, this is a little bit more space themed. This one is the 50 years edition. So I got this game close to a decade ago. I want to say it probably was like a 2008, 2007 release. Now these are good pieces. These are just plastic, but they do the job. I'm not worried about these just easily breaking. Yes, like the stickers on these are a little bit peeling. I mean, again, the game's over 10 years, so I'm not upset by that. I think that the game, for the most part, has really held up. And I think that the fun of pulling out a game like this is that, you know, I mean, look at this board. Now, compared to the old Stratego board, again, old doesn't mean you have to get the oldest version. You know, you can get an updated version and have a lot of fun, and it's still the old game. It's the concept. This one did add in something new, and I think that's a piece you should be aware of. You're getting an old game, but they've updated it. In this particular case, if you look at just the old game, 1 to 10, well, the 10s are really powerful, and the 10s were really weak, and the 1s were really powerful, I believe it was. Although I do think they reversed it in this game. I believe the 1s now are the weak ones, and the 10s are powerful. But in the old one, it was the other way. Either way, your 1 was basically indestructible, for the exception of 2 1s collide, they're both out, or you run into a bomb. However, they now have the spy. This is a great update to the game. The spy essentially sucks. The spy loses to everybody. He's like a 10 or a 1. I'm going to get these numbers right eventually, guys. He's like a 1. He's the weakest thing in the game. Even if he faces a 1, the 1 beats him. However, he can defeat the 10. So you've got this extra piece on the board that says, hey, instead of it just being the luck of the 10 running into my 10, or him running into a bomb, instead, now I have this guy that my goal is to try to keep him away from battle, but ready for attack, and that he's trying to hunt the 10. And he's essentially playing a game of tag where he can be eliminated by tagged by anybody else. But if he can get that 10. Now, what's even more interesting about this piece is, if I'm correct, I'm pretty sure I am, the spy can lose if he's attacked by the 10. So this is not a all-inclusive, you touch me or I touch you and you're out. This is a, I have to touch you because I'm the spy. I have to have snuck up and gotten you caught off guard. Compared to, if you see me and you touch me, well, guess what? You're the 10. You're strong. I'm not going to win. So I think that's a great aspect added to the game. I think that this game gives you the uniqueness of anything that goes off of chess. I love chess. It's one of my favorite games, but it's hard to replicate. This is not chess, but this is the idea of, hey, we're going to use, instead of an 8x8, we're using a 10x8 grid. And instead of it being a guaranteed, these 2 rows set up the way they're set up, it's these 3 rows set up the way you want to set them up. And we've got our pieces, and we know the pieces. And, you know, now you understand, like, the movements. I wish that there was a little bit of change to the fact that outside of the, I believe it is in this game, it's the 2s, the scouts. In the original game, it was the 9s. They're allowed to make that huge jump forward, but outside of them, there is no special movement. And I think that's a part of the game that if I were them, I would put out maybe a new version, Stratego dash something, that says like, hey, you can reveal your character, and by revealing it, now you can use its special moves. You know, it's more susceptible. People know who you are, so if you reveal your 10, that spy is gonna have a lot easier time getting to you. But by revealing the 10 can do some kind of a special trick of, hey, now maybe they can defuse a bomb like 1 time, or maybe they can make a diagonal move, or they're allowed to hop the water, something like that. I wish that they would give a little bit more to that, because otherwise, again, you take away the 9, or the 2, the scout, everybody's just moving 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That does get a little old. Yeah, I can see my stuff, but I wish that was a little bit better. I learned this game as a kid with my dad. It was a game I learned pretty young. I probably was like 7, maybe even 6. Now, I don't know if that's really the normal age that you should be learning this game at. I believe that they recommend this game. Well, they don't actually have a recommended age on it. But, you know, this is a game that is definitely not, in my opinion, something that kids are going to pick up very fast. But it gives you the ability to at least teach a little bit about numbers and a little bit about patience. I think that because the pieces, when you put them down so easily, can be nicked and turned, you have to be very patient to know, okay, move them calmly, don't nick other things. So it can help a little kid with that. It's not expensive. This game went for about $30, $35, and today it's probably dropped a little in price, I would assume. I would not expect to find this in a regular board game store, but I would expect to find it at Targets, and I would expect to find it at Barnes & Noble. This is the kind of game that they still try to put out there as a mass market, because I believe this was Hasbro. Well, Spin Masters, what they haven't marked. It was Hasbro initially at one point. I think that this is a game that everybody should consider. It's a great one-on-one. These games are fantastic, but the big problem is that even if they give you the 2-player option, not a lot of them play well at 2-player. This game does. It's only a 2-player, obviously, but it's a good 2-player game. You need a few of those in your collection. You need that ability to say, I get no friends, no family, nothing going on today. It's just me and my brother, my sister, my wife, my mom, my dad, my best friend. You know, just one person with me today. And we don't really want to go out, we want to do something, but none of my games are going to really fit that aspect. A game like this would. You know, you might only get one play in, you might not want to play 2 in a row, but it's a nice rainy day game for you and one other person. So I would recommend. I think it's a not a must buy, but it's a good buy, and it's definitely something that will hold up through the years and be a good occasional option. It's not an every week. It's not even going to be played every year. You might have it kind of coming in and out. Hey, I played it in 2017 and then I didn't play again until 2020. That's fine. It's not like it's taken up a huge amount of space. So that's my recommendation. I hope you guys enjoy it. You've been talking with the Meeples Champion. Like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.